Alright, welcome back to Lumiose City. No gyms, no champion grind. Today, we're seeing what a full week of normal life looks like in Pokémon Legends ZA. 7 days, 1 job, 1 city. Let's start with day 1. We arrive in Lumiose City by train, stepping straight into a place that already feels busy. Lifelike. Didn't pause just because we showed up. Stalls line the streets, NPCs are moving around with purpose. Pokemon are running around like they belong here, because they do. This city doesn't feel like it's waiting for a hero. It feels like it's just living. We start exploring the area around the station, just taking it all in. There's a taxi rank right here, which is interesting, but without a job that's definitely not something we can afford just yet. What is interesting though is there's active construction nearby, and that immediately tells me something important. There might be work here. As we walk around, I realise something else. Pokemon are dropping items all over the place. Berries, materials, small valuables. Stuff we can sell. It's not glamorous, but it's honest money. Also, quick pause. This Umbreon just casually hanging around. Yeah, it's cool. At this point, we still don't have anywhere to live, so we head towards the centre of the city. And that's when we see it. That massive tower. You can't miss it. It dominates the skyline, like everything in Lumiose eventually leads back to it. But before worrying about legends or towers, we need a roof over our head. We turn back toward the train station area and head right, and that's where we run into an officer. They let us know that there's a hotel down the alleyway to the left. Perfect. We head down there and meet AZ, who tells us there's a room available. We pay for a night, and just like that we have a base of operations for a week. He also mentions we're free to use hotel facilities, which is honestly a nice touch. So now we've got a bed, our own space, but there's a catch. We're travelling with our trusty Totodile, and apparently Pokemon aren't allowed out of their Pokeballs inside the room, which is hilarious. It's basically a Pokemon version of a no pets allowed hotel room. To make up for that, we head up to the rooftop. This gives us a higher vantage point overlooking the city, and this is where Totodile finally gets to come out. Go on buddy, stretch your legs. The sun is starting to dip lower, and for a while we just stay up here, talking about nothing, talking about everything. It's calm, safe, and that feeling matters when you're somewhere new. Totodile absolutely loves the boardroom area downstairs. There are photos on the walls, most of them blurry or faded, but one clearly shows the big tower, like it's been watching the city for a long time. We step back outside for some fresh air and climb a nearby staircase just to get another view of Lumiose. Different angles, same feeling. The sun is about to set, so we stop by a newsstand. I ask about work, but she's a one-person operation, so no luck here. We grab a lemonade instead and start talking to people nearby, just to get a sense of the area. One thing becomes clear. Taxis exist, but they're not realistic for everyday life. So whatever job we get, it needs to be within walking distance of the hotel. That's a problem for tomorrow. For now, we head out and collect more dropped items from Pokemon around the city. Just enough to sell, just enough to cover our first night. We head back to the hotel and finally get some rest. After calling it a night, we head back out with Totodile because he's adorable, and we stop by the café. Out of pure desperation, I ask if they need help, and somehow we get the job. Nothing fancy, just helping customers, delivering orders and making sure everyone's happy. Only catch is that we have to clean up everything at the end. And then an alarm goes off. That's my 25-minute timer, which means day 1 is officially over. We arrived with nothing, we found a shelter, and somehow we found work. Tomorrow, real life in Lumiose begins. Day 2 starts back at the cafe. We head home with our cafe uniform, get freshened up and change into something a little bit more Lumiose. Before heading out, I take a moment to read a short summary of the history of the city. Nothing too deep, just enough to understand where we are and what kind of place this really is. This isn't just a city, it has layers. I look out the window with Totodile watching the city wake up, and honestly, there's this quiet excitement, like maybe, just maybe, we can fit in here. Especially when you remember where we came from. Route 111, the desert. If you know it, you know it. From endless sand to this. We report for our first official shift at the cafe. The owner watches on encouragingly, but clearly curious to see how this goes. To help bring people in, I let Totodile out. And yeah, that was the right call. He becomes the cafe mascot almost instantly. Customers smile, Pokémon gather, the vibe shifts. It's wholesome in a way Pokémon games rarely slow down enough to show. Totodile isn't alone either, there's an Eevee and a Pidgey here too. I head over to a man sitting quietly in the corner, Cedric. He's here with his Pidgey and we strike up a conversation. Turns out, like us, he's not from Lumiose. He works as a safety representative for the construction sites, like the one we noticed on day 1. His Pidgey helps by taking readings from places Cedric can't reach. They're a perfect team. We bring him another coffee and some seeds for Pidgey. Cedric's satisfied, so are we. Next we head over to a table with 2 women and an Eevee. Naomi's animation suggests she's actively engaging with us, so we start talking. She works at the big tower as a secretary. Naturally we ask questions. Naturally we're told it's none of our business. And for our own safety we shouldn't ask. Fair enough. Olivia, the Eevee's trainer, is different. She's a Lumiose native with a big dream, taking Eevee to Hoenn and one day challenging the league there. That hit instantly because we came from Hoenn too. There's an immediate bond. We bring their drinks and Pokepuffs for Eevee. Eevee warms up to us fast and honestly, the cafe is going great so far. But this is hospitality. And hospitality always comes with that customer. She complains, then complains louder, then becomes confrontational. It reminds me of a real life moment. Watching a server getting shouted at and clearly upset but still pushing through her shift. It stuck with me. Not because we're good people, but because sometimes kindness isn't optional, it's necessary. We bring her coffee, it's wrong. We bring another, also wrong. The 3rd time, she pours it onto the pavement, nearly hitting Totodile. Totodile immediately uses water gun to clean it up. No aggression, just fixing the mess. That moment says more than dialogue ever could. We talk to our boss and we agree we need more customers. So I head out into Lumiose, asking people if they'd like to stop by. No one does, but that's okay, because effort matters, even when it doesn't pay off immediately. We take a short break, check that everyone's okay, and then stand next to our manager. She looks at us, clearly unimpressed that we're doing nothing. So I panic. I walk outside, flash my Pokeball to a random woman, hoping she'll rush into the cafe just so I have something to do. She doesn't. I sit down. The manager looks away. Bingo. As the sun begins to set, customers finally leave. We clear the tables, clean the cups, and our first shift is done. Keep an eye on those cups. I'll explain later. As a small reward, we stop by the newsstand and buy a soda pop. Then we head into the Pokemon Center and I realise something amazing. There's a water machine. Free water. Which means Totodile is covered whenever we need it. That matters. We head back out collecting items to sell until a ghastly attacks us in an alleyway. We run. Later, we reach a strange green barrier with a massive Staryu inside. It's weird and funny. Then it starts to rain. Pixelated clouds fill the sky. At least they're there. I get too absorbed in exploring and then I realise it's almost dawn. We haven't slept, we have work soon, and we're lost. For the first time I don't feel like I'm playing a Pokemon character. I feel like me. Lost, tired, and about to be late. We've all been there. Eventually we find a taxi driver, we swallow our pride and our money, and ride back to the hotel just in time for daybreak. Straight to the rooftop, too tired to move, too tired to sleep, because if we do, we will miss work. We sell our items at the Pokemon Center, just enough to cover the taxi, and then we rush back to the cafe. We make it, barely, and right as we arrive, the alarm goes off. Day 2 in Lumiose, complete. Day 3. We're back at the cafe talking to the same people again. Cedric, Naomi, Olivia. And this time I noticed something strange. Remember those cups I mentioned earlier? They're still here. Same cups, same tables, coffee's still in them. Undrunk. Which is honestly a health hazard. I'm surprised this place hasn't been shut down yet. But the more I watch them, the more I realise. They never drink anything. Ever. So maybe that's why no one's reported it. It's unintentionally hilarious. They just sit there, day after day, guarding their cups like sacred artefacts. As the shift goes on, I start crouching behind furniture, finding corners, hiding in places that make no sense, not because the game tells me to, but because I'm trying to escape this imaginary job role I gave myself back on day 1. We still do the basics. Check on our customers, make sure everyone's fine, try to draw new people in, but mentally I'm already clocking out. At one point, I hide behind Cedric. He doesn't mind. He just looks down at his Pidgey with genuine admiration, and that small moment almost makes the routine worth it. Almost. By now, it's obvious, I'm bored. And that's kind of the point. This is what real employment feels like sometimes. Except here. My entire social circle consists of a Pidgey and an Eevee and a handful of NPCs who never finish their drinks. We don't even get access to the full café, just this section over and over. Eventually, we do the thing, standing next to our manager. She looks at us, disgusted, judging. We all know that look. Because we were out all night on day 2, we politely ask if we can head off early. Surprisingly, she says yes, so we leave immediately. We go straight back to the hotel, pay for the room, head to our room and collapse. No food, no item collecting, nothing. Just sleep, and honestly, we've all done this. Come home from work so exhausted you skip dinner and shut down completely. That's stress, that's fatigue. When morning comes, we report to work immediately to make up for leaving early. We tell our manager we'll try harder today. Cedric looks exhausted too. Turns out he's been out most of the night making sure construction sites are safe across the city. So we bring him another coffee. He needs it. Naomi compliments our hat and says we seem more upbeat today. That helps. Olivia starts asking more questions about Hoenn, what to expect. So I tell her the truth. The first gym leader, Roxanne, uses rock types, and Eevee might struggle unless you evolve early or massively over level. We all laugh. For a moment the cafe feels alive again. We bring out more drinks, we hide in plain sight again, right next to Cedric, trying once more to draw people in. But this is where it hits me. I'm rolling around the cafe like an idiot purely to fight boredom. And that's when I realise this experiment might actually be getting to me. Still, we're halfway through, 3 days down, 3 to go, so realistically, it can only get better from here. We chat with Naomi one last time, and then the 25-minute alarm goes off. Day 3 in Lumiose officially complete. Day 4. Cedric's fine today, doesn't need anything, doesn't say much either. That somehow makes it worse. Instead of working, we hide, first next to Naomi, then Olivia. Not because we're slacking, but because standing still feels easier than pretending to care. Eventually, we stand next to our manager. She looks at us, disgusted. That look is becoming familiar. Night creeps in without ceremony. We clear the tables. Same motions, same cups. The shift ends. No sense of accomplishment, just relief. We head out and collect items to sell. Not exploring, not enjoying it. Just doing what needs to be done. We stop by a stand and grab some food because we didn't eat yesterday. That realization hits harder than it should. We talk to people around Lumiose. New faces, new voices, but none of them stick. It's like the city is moving around us instead of with us. We climb a ladder, don't know why, just up and then a slip, a fall, a near death moment. It hits too close to home. My dad once fell off a roof in real life. That memory rushes in uninvited. For a split second, the game stops being a game. We sell what we've collected at the Pokémon Center, routine again. Then back to the hotel, pay for the room, go to bed. No reflection, no processing, just shut down. We wake up, head straight to the rooftop, and I say it out loud. I am not looking forward to going to work today. That feeling is real. Work isn't evil, but sometimes it's a necessary one. We head downstairs, clock in, immediately go to the toilet and stay there way longer than necessary. Company time. Like we've all done that before. Back on the floor, I'm less interested in our regulars than ever. Cedric, Olivia, even Totodile feels a bit distant. We do the bare minimum. Orders fulfilled, customers satisfied, nothing more. I thought staying in one place long enough would mean people would come and go. New stories, new lives, intersecting with ours. But it doesn't happen, because this isn't how you're meant to play the game, and I think I'm starting to feel that. Naomi talks a lot today, then she stops, then she notices. She asks if we're okay. We tell her the truth. We almost fell to our death last night, but we don't want to stop, we just want to keep moving, so we don't think about it. She understands. That matters more than dialogue ever could. We talk to people outside, try to bring in more customers, and ask for a small break. Head to the newsstand for a drink, and then we crouch next to a sign. No reason, just waiting. Naomi chats nearby. Her voice fills the space, so silence doesn't. We wait, and then the alarm goes off. Day 4 in Lumiose complete. Not memorable, not productive, just heavy. And somehow that makes it the most real day yet. Day 5. The rest of the shift drags on, not dramatically, not painfully, just slowly. The way real work does when you're tired but still functioning. Nothing happens, and that's the point. Night eventually arrives. We clear every table and wipe every surface. For once, it feels deliberate. We say goodbye to our manager. She doesn't smile, but she doesn't look disgusted either. I'll take that. We head straight to the Pokémon Center. Not for us, but for Totodile. Fresh water, a quick check-in, then we grab treats because after work we're hungry. That feels important again. We collect more dropped items around the city. Nothing exciting. And then we spot it. A flock of Pidgey gathered near some stalls, just existing. For a moment everything slows down, and then I immediately ruin it. I accidentally spend all of our money on a serious mint. Completely skint. Classic. We sell what we can to get a bit of cash back. It's not much, but it's enough. Enough is starting to mean something. We head back to the hotel, pay for the room, and rest. Actual rest, not collapsing. Choosing to stop. In the morning, I do something dumb. I try every other hotel door just to see. Spoiler. You can't break into other people's rooms. Go figure. But this time, it doesn't spiral. It's just curiosity. We head up to the rooftop with Totodile and just stand there. The city from above feels different today. Not overwhelming, just big, relaxing. We take a breath before work. That matters more than it sounds. We report for our shift and do the work. Coffee, snacks, check-ins. Nothing flashy. But we try genuinely to take an interest again. In Cedric, in Naomi, in Olivia. And once again, we try and bring in new customers. It doesn't work, but that effort feels honest this time. At one point, we roll around in front of our manager again. Absolutely should be fired, but the regulars love it, because they're here all day, and we're entertainment. Strangely enough, that's enough. Then, something unexpected happens. The woman from our first day, the one with the coffee incident, talks to us. Her name is Nia. She works as an assistant manager at the local bank. She apologises for being harsh, for not realising it was our first day. She says she was taking her stress out on us. That lands hard. Suddenly, that awful moment from day one changes shape. It wasn't about us, it never was. And just like that, everyone here has a story. Cedric, Naomi, Olivia, and Nia. This place isn't a loop anymore, it's a community. And right there, the 25-minute alarm goes off. Day 5 in Lumiose complete. Not fixed, not perfect, but standing again. Day 6 begins like any other. Cedric tells us about work, not casually, seriously. He had to shut down a construction site on the other side of town after a worker got injured. A wall collapsed, barely missing him. In the panic, he tripped over equipment and broke his ankle trying to run. He says it like it's nothing, like work always comes first. Naomi's news is different. She got promoted. Starting the day, she manages a small team of secretaries at the big tower. Not because she was asked, but because she took on extra duties on her own, and someone noticed. She's nervous, but proud, and we are too. Olivia's thinking ahead. She's debating whether to focus on friendship with Evie, training during the day in the wild zones. She wants an Espeon, not immediately, just eventually. It feels like a plan forming in real time. Nia doesn't say much today. She just stands there watching us, more fondly than ever. Rain starts to fall outside, and for once, no one complains about the weather. We crouch near a table, our manager looks at us, disgusted. Of course, some things don't change. Night comes gently. We clear the tables, carefully, deliberately, and just like that, our final shift ends. Out of habit, we pick up items to sell. Old routines die hard. We steal some ice cream and sit down on our first bench, and finally we stop moving. It hits us all at once. We won't work at the café anymore. We will never know if Naomi's new job role goes well. We will never learn more about Nia, her needs, her hopes, her dreams. We will never see Cedric again, especially outside of work. He never talked about hobbies, only work. And most of all, we won't see Pidgey or Eevee ever again. It's surreal. A wave of sadness rolls in, heavy, slow, unavoidable. We hate repetitive work, always have, but on your last day there's uncertainty, sadness and happiness mixed in with some anxiety. Because your life is changing and you don't know if you've made the right choice. So we take photos of Totodile, of ourselves, a snapshot in time, something to remember this chapter by. We let Totodile nap beside us. The city keeps moving, we don't. We sell what we've collected, head back to the hotel and rest until the morning. We head to the lobby and sit by the fireplace. Relief settles in. No work today, no clock to punch. We return to the cafe one last time, say our goodbyes, quiet ones. We then clear out these strange purple blobs, like half-formed mucks, not quite real. We head inside to see who we helped escape this strange, temporary prison. And then, the alarm goes off. Day 6 in Lumiose complete. Not an ending, just the end of something that mattered. Day 7. For the first time all week, there's nothing pulling us anywhere. No shift, no uniform, no pretending. We step outside and just start walking, finally free from the shackles of everyday routine. For once, the city doesn't feel like it's watching the clock. We wander into what looks like a university campus. There's an open field where Pokémon trainers can battle, not competitively, just casually. Learning, training, existing. Nearby we find a stream filled with Magikarp. They're doing what Magikarp do, and somehow that feels enough. Then we walk into a restaurant, and this one hurts. It's full of people, laughter, food, life. We could have worked here, probably would have had a better time. That regret hits instantly, but just as fast it passes, because that's life. The grass isn't always greener, it just looks different from where you're standing. We keep moving and find a food truck. There's a Charizard standing outside. Calm, friendly, clearly well trained. We greet him, he greets us back, so we grab a cup of tea and sit down. This is when it really sinks in. There are so many buildings we couldn't enter, so many places we didn't see, and honestly, I probably missed a lot. You can't find everything in a single day's life cycle, especially when that day is only 25 real-world minutes long. That's okay, I take a few more photos, we finish our tea, and move on. Night falls, we stand on a nearby rooftop and look at the tower. It's passive, silent, watching. I can't help but wonder what's going on inside. If you want to see that explored properly, let me know in the comments. I really do want to play this game properly one day. We head to the Pokemon Center, one last stop for Totodile. Then we head to the hotel rooftop, one final time. We watch darkness slowly turning into light, and that's when it ends. Our final day as a normal person in Pokémon Legends ZA. We stand there in silence, admiring the city, the week, and the version of ourselves that lived here. No legends, no destiny, just life. If you enjoyed this kind of video, please let me know. There are more videos on screen right now, and if you'd like to see more stories like this, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. The next video will be Pokemon Fire Red, but I can only use one Skitty. Thank you so much for watching. I've been James. Until next time.